Hey guys, this is Mr. Schower's Stoichiometry Lab. Okay, what we're going to be doing is today we're going to be producing a salt, NaCl. Okay, so we are going to be reacting hydrochloric acid, a moderately strong version, with baking soda, which is sodium bicarbonate. Together, the two of them form salt plus water plus a gas, CO2. Now, the CO2 will be liberated. However, we're going to be left with salt water. Now, we learned in the past in the mixtures chapter that we could separate salt and water by evaporation. So that's what we're going to be doing in this lab. Now, the cool part about this lab is that we can actually, on paper, calculate the amount of mass of sodium chloride we will produce in lab. So it's one of my favorite labs to do, hands down, and we're going to do it right now. Few simple tools we need: balance, evaporating dish, watch glass, crucible tongs, Bunsen burner, clay triangle, ring stand. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to begin by weighing a clean, dry evaporating dish and watch glass. Okay, so zero out the balance. We're going to put that on there. And I'm going to do the first couple steps for you. All right, so we get 105.49 grams for the two. So that goes in data table number 1. Now I'm going to add the pre-measured 2.0 grams of baking soda, which is sodium bicarbonate. So I'm going to put that in there. Now, the combined mass for number 2, the data table, is 107.58 grams. Okay, now if you subtract numbers 1 and 2 from each other, you will get the exact mass of baking soda I placed in there. So note that. Okay, you're going to need to do that for the calculation number 1 problem. Okay, now we have our substance. Now we need to begin reacting it with hydrochloric acid. The question is, how do we know when the reaction is complete? Well, first off, we're going to get bubbles, CO2 bubbles. That's a gas. Once that gas stops forming, the reaction has subsided. So let's begin. We have to add approximately 20 mLs. Not all of it. We're just going to keep adding until we use enough. We don't want to over add any acid. So I'm going to carefully add the acid, and it's going to begin to bubble quite rapidly. Now, the evaporating dish is covered by the watch glass to allow all the salt to stay in. It's going to capture all that salt. Okay, so I'm going to keep adding it until there's no more bubbles being formed. Do a little at a time. There's no rush. Still bubbling, still bubbling. I would love to show you guys, but if I tilt it, it's going to pour all over my hand, so I can't. So just have to trust me on it. Okay, I'm going to give it a gentle little swirl. Okay, no more bubbles. That was the last check. Now, how do we get the water and the salt separated? Well, we have to heat it up with the Bunsen burner. So I'm going to transfer this evaporating dish over here to our clay triangle using our crucible tongs. Very carefully, I'm going to be holding it from the bottom. You don't want it to fall. Very, very careful. Place it up here. If it falls, you have to start all over. Okay, now it's up here in the correct position. Now we're going to begin heating it with the Bunsen burner. Okay, and I'm going to slide the Bunsen burner under and let it begin to heat up. Now, how do you know when you're done? Well, there'll be no more steam being produced. Steam is the evidence of water evaporating. Okay, so as it gets hot, you're going to see a little opening there, steam come out. And we'll let it go for a couple minutes until the water is evaporated and it is completely dry inside. That way, we can accurately measure the sodium chloride, NaCl, which is left over. And if you note in the balanced equation, sodium chloride is your solid left over, whereas the water comes out as a vapor and CO2 comes out as a gas. Okay? So, I'm going to let it go for just a minute. You'll see the evidence of the water coming out. Starting to steam a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see it. Bring it over the camera. It's bubbling profusely. All right, so I'm going to let it go until it is completely dry. And then in part 2, I'll go over the masses with you. All right, guys.